Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello dear students, welcome to another lecture. In this class, we are going to learn about the sentence formation of the past perfect tense and its uses. So let us start. Now, when talking about the past perfect tense, we have just one helping verb that we need to take care of, that is had. And with had, we always use the third form of the verb. This is something that you have to remember. So when in a statement, how do we frame a sentence? Subject plus had plus the third form of the verb. For example, I had finished my dinner before he arrived. You had left when he arrived. She had prepared the tea before her husband got up. They had completed their work long ago. So, the subject plus had plus the third form of the verb and the rest of the sentence. How do we frame a sentence in the interrogative manner? The first place is to be occupied with the helping verb, that is had. Then comes subject, the third form of the verb. For example, had I finished my dinner before he arrived? Had you left when he arrived? Had she prepared the tea before her husband got up? Had they completed their work long ago? Now, when we talk about the negative sentences, as we have learned, we simply have to add not in our statement, in the structure that we learn for the statement. Subject plus had not plus the third form of the verb. For example, I had not finished my dinner before he arrived. You had not left when he arrived. She had not prepared the tea before her husband got up. They had not completed their work long ago. And when we talk about the interrogative negative sentences, again, we simply have to add not in case of the interrogative sentences. So in addition to the structure that we've learned for the interrogative sentences, we simply add not. For example, had I not finished my dinner before he arrived? Had you not left when he arrived? Had she not prepared the tea before her husband got up? Had they not completed their work? No. So these were the structures of the sentences, and now we move on to the usage of the past perfect tense. The first use of the past perfect tense is, in a simple sentence, we never use past perfect tense unless it has in some words such as already, ever, for 2 years, or just, before, or since. So, unless and until you have such words in the sentences, you will not use the past perfect tense. So, we will only use the past perfect tense in those sentences where such words are used by us. For example, he had never visited the Taj before. So, had never visited the Taj before. The guests had already taken the dinner. Had already taken the dinner. The second use of the past perfect tense is to indicate that it was completed at some point of time before another action took place in the past. So it indicates that action which was completed at some point of time before some other action took place in the past. For example, when I reached the station, the train had left. So what action got completed? The train had already left before you had reached the station. So the action which was completed is represented with the help of the past perfect tense. So he went to school after the rain had stopped. What was the action that took place later on? The stopping of the rain. The rain stopped. So that was the action which took place later on, and before that he went to school. And after that, he went to school. Now the next use is to express an unfulfilled condition in the past. Unfulfilled condition in the past. That means an imaginary. When you imagine something or when you hope for something to come true. For example, if I had known you were ill, I would have come to you. So this is an unfulfilled condition. If I would have known that you were ill, then I would have come to you. If you had worked hard, you would have passed the examination. If you would have worked hard, this is again an unfulfilled condition. The next use, the past perfect tense can be used with verbs like expect, mean, suppose, think, intend, want, etc. to describe things we wished to do but did not do. So describe those things which we hoped or wished to do but could not do. We use the past perfect tense. For example, I had hoped to win the first prize. This was the hope that I had, but I could not fulfill that. He had to become a lawyer. He had intended to send his son to some engineering college, but he could not do it. So, let us now look at the exercise and try and complete the blanks using the correct form of the verb. So, he dashed many foreign countries before he returned home. So, he had visited many foreign countries before he returned home. By the time we reached the station, the train had left. He was sure that he had seen me somewhere before. The police reported that they had finally captured the murderer. She knew that she had made a serious mistake. So, had plus the third form of the verb. So, I hope, dear students, this past perfect tense, its structure and the usage is clear to you. Now, we move on to the last type of the verb form, that is the past perfect continuous tense. Now, when we talk about the structure of the past perfect continuous tense, in case of a statement, it is the subject plus had been plus the ing form of the verb. Now, as I said also, the moment the word continuous comes into the picture, we use the ing form of the verb. For example, he had been playing cricket since childhood. She had been suffering from fever for a long time. The gardener had been watering the plants since morning, and so on and so forth. Then we have the interrogative sentences. What is the structure of interrogative sentences? We use the helping verb, that is had, followed by the subject plus been plus the ing form of it. For example, had he been playing cricket since childhood? Had she been suffering from fever for a long time? Had the gardener been watering the plants since morning? And so on and so on. The next type of sentence structure that we have is the negative sentences. And we know that for negative sentences, we add not in the statement structure that we have learned. So our structure becomes subject plus had not been plus the ing form of the verb. For example, he had not been playing cricket since childhood. She had not been suffering from fever for a long time. The gardener had not been watering the plants since morning. And then we have the interrogative negative sentence. The structure of interrogative negative sentence is we begin with the helping verb had plus the subject plus not being the ing form of the verb. For example, had he not been playing cricket since childhood? Had she not been suffering from fever for a long time? Had the gardener not been watering the plants since morning? And so on and so on. So now let us look at the usage of the past perfect continuous tense. The first usage is we talk about actions in progress which were in progress throughout a period. So those actions which were in progress throughout a period, we use the past perfect continuous tense for them. For example, when I visited him in Kolkata, he had been working there as a medical representative for 4 years. So in the past, the action continued for a long period of time. They had been playing in the park for over hours before I called them. So a progressive action that took place in the past. The doctor was very tired because he had been operating the patient since 7 in the morning. He had been living in Delhi for 10 years before 1995. So you see, we use since and for in such sentences. And we talk about those actions that were in progress throughout a period in the past. Now, there are a few verbs such as learn, lie, live, reign, sleep, sit, study, stand, work, wait, etc. that naturally suggests some continuity. If I'm talking about learn or lying or living or reigning, that automatically suggests a continuity of the verb, and therefore such verbs will occur in the past perfect continuous tense along with since or for. For example, when we first met Mr. Gupta, he had been working with the Good Luck Publishers for 20 years. So when you work with somebody, there's always a continuity that you talk about, right? The second usage of the past perfect continuous tense is to talk about repeated actions. Those actions that were frequently repeated. For example, the teacher was angry because Anil had not been doing his homework for a whole month. So for a whole month, this act kept on repeating. The next sentence. Mr. Sharma was annoyed. Mr. Gupta had been calling him every day. So had been calling a repeated action. I was annoyed. Rakesh had been teasing him every day for a whole week. So again, a repeated action is being talked about. Drawing conclusions is the next use of the past perfect continuous tense. When in a sentence there is a conclusion that you have drawn, you have reached a result of something, we use the past perfect continuous tense. For example, Ragini looked tired. She had been working late at night. She had been working late at night. That is why she was looking tired. Her eyes are red. It was obvious she had been studying late at night. Lata was fresh because she had been resting the whole day. So like this, we talk about those actions which were the conclusions of something. Okay? Now the past perfect tense is commonly used when the activity was definitely finished. If we are talking about some action which was definitely finished then, and the past perfect tense is used when the activity was not completed. So there's a difference. If the activity was completed at that time, we use the past perfect tense. And if the activity was not completed, we use the past perfect continuous tense. For example, when I got home, I found that Madan had finished his homework. Had finished his homework, the task has been completed now. When I got home, I found that Madan had been doing his homework. So Madan had still been doing it. He had not completed. So this is the difference between the past perfect and the past perfect continuous tense. So now, my dear students, let us look at the exercises. Fill in the blanks with the past simple, the past perfect, or the past perfect continuous tense of the verb. Pakistan dashed for the cricket match many years before it dashed with India. Many years it was taking place in progression. So Pakistan had been preparing a cricket match for many years before it played with India. The child dashed teeth for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, it is again something which is taking place in continuous. Had been. The doctor dashed before I came. So, doctor before I came. What was the action complete? Had arrived. The child cried. Simple. He knew that he dashed a serious mistake. He knew that he made a serious mistake. She dashed Mumbai for 10 years before 2002. So she had been living in Mumbai for 10 years. If you dash early, you dash catch the train. If you had left early, you so if you had left early, you would have caught the train or you had caught the train. And like this, my dear students, you will continue to do the rest of the sentences. And with this, we come to the end of chapter number 9, wherein we learned about the 4 forms of the past tense, that is the simple past, the past continuous, the past perfect, as well as the past perfect continuous. So I am going to see you now in my next lecture, where we learn about the future tense and its forms. Okay, so see you then.